Hello and welcome. This one is how to clean your camera lens. So it's not going to be a matter of taking the lens apart and cleaning all the glass and all that stuff inside. That's something a technician would do or a repairman would do. Let's say if you somehow got dust, dirt or water or something inside the lens, that's something a repairman will do. This is just cleaning the front and rear element, which is the parts that you can see on the lens. And I'm also not going to be covering cleaning the camera sensor. The reason being is the camera sensor is very sensitive. It's very easy to damage. So if you're not sure what you're doing, it's best to take it somewhere and get the sensor professionally cleaned. But I will mention quickly how it's done. Usually you just buy a swab, and the swab is the width of your sensor. So you have to buy these swabs for your sensor type. So if you have a full frame camera, you'll get a full frame width swab. And it's pretty easy, but what you do is just run the swab down the sensor one way and then back the other way. That's pretty much it. But as I said, the sensors are very sensitive. So if you're a bit worried about doing that, please take it to a camera shop or a repairman or something like that, and they can clean your sensor for you. Now, a way of telling if your sensor does need cleaning is if you take a photo and you can see dust spots in your images, and even with a different lens, they're still there. Obviously, or if your lens is clean and you can still see dust spots, you may have dust on your sensor. Now, with a DSLR camera, so a camera that has a mirror, there'll be a mirror protecting the sensor. So if you do want to clean that, you'll have to go into your settings and there'll be a sensor cleaning mode that actually lifts the mirror so you can clean the sensor. This camera right here is a Sony A7 IV. It is mirrorless, so it doesn't have a mirror at all. So as soon as I take the lens off, the sensor is exposed. So that's another reason you need to be really careful. I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer in a second just to show you exactly how I clean my lenses. But one little tip I'll show you: whenever you're removing your lens to clean your sensor or your lenses, it's always a good idea to point the camera down when you remove the lens, just like that. And the reason for that is because if you have it pointing forwards or upwards, dust and dirt can actually fall into the body of the camera and get on your lens and just start ruining your photos. And yeah, you don't want dust and dirt in your body of the camera. So if you can keep your camera sensor clean for as long as possible, you may never ever have to clean it. I've cleaned my sensor once and I actually didn't even need to do it. I just did it just for the sake of it. I'm very careful when changing lenses and things like that. Also, when you do remove your lens to clean it, make sure that you put the body cap back on the camera, or if you have another lens, put that on the camera just so the sensor or the insides of the camera aren't exposed for too long. One thing that is like my biggest fear is changing lenses somewhere like when it's really windy and it's dusty, like at the beach or something like that, and there's a lot of sand, a lot of dust. I'm really careful. I try and put my back to the wind, point my camera down, get as low as possible, and yeah, try and be as fast as possible without dropping anything. So yeah, anyway, I'll bring you in closer now and I'll show you exactly how I clean my lenses. All right, so here is the lens that I'll be cleaning today. I'm not sure if you can tell, but there is quite a bit of dust on the front element. And another tip, always have your lens caps on if your camera's not in, if they're not on the camera, especially the rear cap. It's very important. So yeah, we're going to be cleaning both elements today. That's the rear element and then the front element, which is the actual front of the lens that I just showed you. Now, there's a couple of different methods to cleaning lenses. I'll show you a couple of things that I use. The first one is something like a lens cleaning wipe. This is just like a wet wipe, alcohol kind of wipe. And some of these, I used to have them, but I can't find them. I haven't been able to find them for a while. This is a wet wipe. I had ones that came in, like, it's one sachet, but they're separated, and it was a cleaning wipe, so a wet wipe and a dry wipe. At the moment, all I do, because I can't find them anymore for some weird reason, I carry a wet wipe and I carry a glasses cleaning or a lens cleaning cloth, just like this one. Now, it's very important to note that you make sure your cloth is clean. You can see they've got some dust and dirt on there. Make sure they're clean. Any little bit of dust, dirt or debris can actually start putting scratches or little micro scratches on the glass, which you don't want. Now, the one thing I probably use more than these is this thing right here, and I highly recommend it. There's a few different brands and things like that of these. This is called a lens pen, and one end of it, when you slide this button up here, when you slide that up, you have a brush. And the other end, it's almost like a little microfiber felt pad, and that actually cleans the glass of the lens. Now, the reason I like using these is because, or either a brush or some kind of blower, you can buy mini air blowers. The reason that is because if you have dust or dirt on your lens and you just go ahead and wipe it straight away with a cloth, that dust and dirt can scratch the lens. Even these wet wipes, they are supposed to bring the dust and dirt up to the surface and kind of help to not scratch the lens, but I still prefer to use a brush or a blower. before, sorry, I think I was shaking the table. I prefer to use a brush or a blower before doing this. So what I'm going to do is show you what I would do. Take the front cap off just here and fling the brush out, and I try and clean it not upright but kind of upside down, so any of the dust and stuff does fall off. If you have a blower, same deal, just press the blower with the lens upside down. And I don't know if you can see the dust that is on there. I've brushed it a little bit, but there is some dust on there, so we'll give that a brush. And these are just nice soft bristles. And I'll also use this brush to actually clean the grooves out on the lens, the focus and zoom rings and things like that. And we'll do one element at a time. I'm not going to clean both because I'm going to clean this, cover it up, and then we'll do the rear element. So I'll just give it a quick brush. And that's looking pretty good, good enough to start the next process, which is one of two options. I either use the back of this thing, which is the felt, and I'll just work my way around in a circular pattern. Now this works good if your lens isn't overly dirty, and that's already come up fantastic. Like that for me is perfect. I'd go out and shoot like that, no problems at all. It's very, very clean. But what we'll do, just for the sake of it, not a lot of people have these, so but I do recommend you definitely get one of these. They're very handy, they're very small, they fit in your bag or whatever, your camera bag. Let's do the other method. This is using a lens cleaning wipe and a proper lens or glasses cleaning cloth. What I'm going to do is just shake this out and just make sure that there's no dirt and dust on this. Just be careful where you store these, don't just throw them on the ground and things like that. Another thing I see a lot of people doing, and I have been guilty of many times before, is cleaning my lens on my shirt and things like that. Sometimes it's inevitable, you've got nothing on you, but I try to always bring my lens cleaning stuff wherever I go, just in case. So this is the wet wipe. We're going to pull it out of the sachet. Just unfold it a little bit. Maybe just fold it into a big square like that. And I'm just going to work my way around, just in like a circular kind of pattern, random pattern. And this will leave the lens wet a little bit, so if you let it dry without wiping it, unfortunately you can get these wet spots. So that's why once you're done wiping it, you get your dry cloth there and just do the same thing. Give it a little nice wipe, just like that. And again, as you can see, it's still clean from the first process that I did, but that's perfect. So what I'll do at this point, just check the back of the lens cap, make sure there's no dirt and dust on there. I've seen a lot of times dirt and dust gets into here, then you put it on your lens and it ends up on your glass. So I also give this a quick little brushing, usually, before I put it back on the lens. Okay, and now we'll do the rear element. Alright, so now we're ready to clean the rear element, so we'll take off the lens cap, the rear lens cap. This rear element doesn't look too bad. I am very careful with my lenses. I do tend to clean them almost every time I go out to shoot. Just before I go, I just give them a quick look over. If they're dirty, I give them a clean. So this doesn't look too bad. With this one, I'll use the brush once again, because we've already used this sachet. Try not to use the sachet multiple times. By the way, you can probably see the dirt on that. That's just what's come off the lens from wiping it that first time. So yeah, they do work very, very well. But I'm not going to use that again because it's dirty. I've got others, but I'm just going to show you the method with this once again. It's exactly the same as the front. Give it a brush, keeping the lens somewhat pointing down so all the dust falls off. You can blow in there if you like. Or as I said, if you have a blower, they work great as well. You can buy kits with these and they include blowers and things like that as well. And I'll clean around the lens mount as well. Then I'll fold the brush back in and I'll use the other side. And that's that felt tip. It's like a microfiber felt tip I was talking about, and the rear element's a bit harder to clean because you don't have as much room, so I tend to do like a little, just go around the edges and then just a circular motion like this. And that's it. Very, very clean. So if you've ever dropped your lens in mud or dirt, I've never done that. I have dropped an ND filter in dirt while I was filming some of the course actually. And I didn't want to use this because if you use this brush on the mud, it's obviously going to get all over the brush. So in that case, I went straight for the wet wipe and I wiped all the mud and dirt off. And then after it was relatively clean, I then used this. So That's about all there is to it. Again, make sure you brush out the inside of the body cap if you are putting that back on. Just, yeah, a lot of dust often accumulates in these and then it will end up on your glass. So yeah, that's it. We have a beautifully clean lens, caps are both back on and ready for use. And as I said, this little lesson isn't going to go into taking the lens apart and cleaning the insides of the lens, but it's very, 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 very rare that you get anything inside the lens if you look after them. Some lenses are better weather sealed and dust sealed than others, but if you do find you're getting dirt and dust in your lens, you will probably have to take that to a lens repairer where they can take it all apart and clean it up and put it back together. But that's about it. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one.